Thank you very much, Madam Chair. An honor to be with all of you this morning. I appreciate the opportunity to come before you first today with the Senate Bill 2721. This bill addresses a very deeply disturbing yet critically important issue: the treatment of human remains and non-transplant anatomical donation organizations, willed body programs, and the unregulated use of unclaimed bodies. Before I proceed, I must caution this committee. The stories I will share here are very difficult to hear, but they are the reason this bill exists. Ignoring the grotesque reality would be a disservice to the families who are here today who have suffered so terribly, and to the deceased whose dignity was so carelessly discarded. Across the nation, and here even in our beloved Texas, recent investigative reports have unearthed horrifying abuses. In our own state, at the University of North Texas Health Science Center, over 2,350 unclaimed bodies have been acquired from Dallas and Tarrant County since 2019. Among them, Victor Carl Honey, a U.S. Army veteran whose body was used without his family's knowledge. He was dissected and leased out not once but repeatedly, including to the U.S. Army and private medical device companies. A man who served his country and life was in death treated like inventory. Another man, Oscar Fitzgerald, died with no expectation that his body would be mishandled. His family learned months later that he had been donated and used without consent. When they tried to reclaim his remains, they were told the school wasn't finished with him yet. Only after his body was leased out twice did they receive his cremated remains and a shipping bill. Let that sink in for a moment. Not only did they receive only pieces of their loved one, but they were charged for his fragmented return. The story of Oromar Villegas, just 21 years old and the victim of a brutal murder, is particularly haunting to me. Authorities had her mother's contact information. They failed to use it. Her mother had to learn that her daughter's body had been dissected and used even without a phone call to notify her. She had been searching for her daughter for months. She found her through a haunting national news story on the body industry. These stories are not anomalies. They are patterns. One of the most appalling examples comes from outside Texas, but it serves as a warning. In Louisiana, a 98-year-old World War II veteran, David Saunders, believed he was donating his body for science. Instead, he was shipped to a Portland hotel where ticket holders paid to watch a live autopsy. Strangers poked and prodded his body like a live game of Operation. Members, imagine your family members in this type of situation turn into a public spectacle. His sacrifice and body dishonored in front of a paying crowd. It sounds just unimaginable and unthinkable, but it happened and it continues to happen. In southern Nevada, neighbors reported a foul odor and blood seeping into the street. What authorities found was something out of a nightmare: a worker spraying down a frozen human torso in the middle of a parking lot with a garden hose. Blood and tissue flowed into the street gutters. That body had been donated for research. I'm sorry, but this is not research. In Phoenix, Arizona, the FBI raided a body donation center in 2014. Inside, they found a horror show, a warehouse filled with decomposing arms, legs, and heads, many of them mislabeled, some stacked like cordwood. One agent described it as the most gruesome scene he'd ever seen in his career. A loving father believed he was contributing his body to science for the benefit of medical progress, but instead, bits and pieces of his body were later discovered thawing in an empty warehouse. His widow was eventually sent a container of ashes, but she could not confirm they truly belonged to her husband. She will never know if what she received were truly his remains. What kind of system allows this to happen? What kind of state tolerates it? These are not stories from faraway lands. They are American tragedies, and several happen right here in Texas. They reveal a shameful truth. In the absence of clear laws, the dignity of the dead is up for grabs, and families are left with grief compounded by betrayal, and we must do better. Senate Bill 2721 is our answer to that. This bill establishes mandatory licensing for NATO's willed body programs and human body acquisition services. It institutes inspections. It demands transparency and accountability. It ends the era of whispered abuses and untraceable remains. Members, we are still working through the substitute of this bill that seeks to center the focus on the primary goal of the bill, which is to establish a strict, and I mean strict, and stringent regulatory framework across this entire industry. I recognize there were several complications with the filed bill, as this section of statute is fairly convoluted. But I believe many of your concerns will be addressed in the forthcoming substitute. And to the families that are here today and to all that have suffered through this kind of heartbreak, who are left with unanswered questions, given the wrong remains, or denied the chance to say goodbye with dignity, please know that your pain has not gone unheard. I am truly sorry for what you all have endured. You placed your trust in a system that should have treated your loved ones with care and respect, and that trust was broken badly. This bill is more than policy, it is a promise that Texas will do better. It's our way of saying we see you, we hear you, and we are going to take action. Every person deserves to be treated with dignity and death, and every family deserves the peace of knowing their loved one was honored and not exploited. And so, Madam Chair, I just appreciate the opportunity to come before you all and lay out this bill. The substitute will address many of the issues that people have raised, but it will be a comprehensive piece of legislation. It will be very tough on bad actors. It will work to find the balance between bad actors that we need to have absolutely zero tolerance for and real legitimate medical research. We need to continue that certainly as well, but we will go after the bad actors. We'll find the right balance, and I think we will put in place, frankly, the model for how to regulate these instances, not just in Texas, but across the country. We will put forward the best bill in the country here before we're done the next couple weeks. So with that, Madam Chair, appreciate the opportunity to lay the bill before you. Happy to answer your questions. And I know we also have some great resource witnesses here as well from the Funeral Services Commission, as well as the families that I've asked to come before us today as well.